Okay, yeah, public comment period. You can either raise your hand on the screen. I didn't have anyone contact us for public comment.
All right, so
None?
close public comment. All right, so new business. The first, we're going to open a hearing on deciding if the green market violation is the first violation or the second violation.
Yeah, the first and second.
All right. So move to open the hearing.
Second.
All right, vote. Motion passes. All right, so just make a comment.
Yes, I did bring the documents for the first one. Remember, we said we will change over the ownership was get changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
So,
did bring all the required documents. The last time was missing some of the documents.
right, so bill of sales.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so I have all these documents and I discussed with Michael as well today. And there's like all the documents here lined up as per the requirements.
Were you able to see them?
I saw some of them, yes. Some of them were the same ones that we already had.
Yeah. And that was the letter from the accountant when they switched the company and the ownership.
No, again, we need a bill of sales.
Yeah, they have it.
Okay,
It has like
Uh,
the sheets is like lined up like that.
all right, so
This is the
the
bill of
fair
sale,
market-
the deed.
So the one thing, so I did see the recording of the deed there, but the only thing I saw that was close to the bill of sale wasn't completely filled out.
right,
I think it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was that first page there.
right.
Is that the only page for the bill of sale?
No, this is one page.
Because like there's no signatures or anything.
This one's, they are recording over here, this 3 pages.
So I saw a recording of a deed, which was here, which was that same one. And then I saw the written out bill of sale, which, I mean, obviously it's just something typed up.
Right.
It also is dating April 23rd, 2024. And the deed was recorded in October of 2024.
Right.
It just, I mean, it could have taken that while to record the deed, just odd. The other thing with that too, though, is if it was complete, if the sale was completely done in October of 2024, the license should have been transferred then, so somebody should have reapplied.
Right, and it hasn't been reapplied for.
Well, they did reapply when the renewal came up in December, but the licenses aren't transferable.
Right,
So for November and December, technically, it shouldn't have had a license.
There was no license.
I mean, there shouldn't have been
Yeah.
if they had transferred a sale. So if the sale did go through on that date, it shouldn't have been transferred anyways, because they're non-transferable.
Right.
So somebody should have reapplied in October. I did see that in December, somebody did reapply. But like I said, for that time, it wasn't supposed to be transferable.
and so, and it went from,
Yeah, and then in 24, I have Cons LLC that applied.
right, so, it was a tobacco license
So
that,
this was for the tobacco license.
and this was. We're saying that it
This
was,
was a 12/15/24. They applied under Cons LLC. So that's what I saw there. But like I said, so and it transferred to Cons LLC on the bill of sale, April 23rd, 2024, and then on the recorded deed, October 15, 2024. So just three different, two different dates there on a probable sale, and then, like I said, it shouldn't have transferred without somebody reapplying in October. No, there was only 2 months left of the year. The licenses aren't transferable.
right, and so then. All right, so that we have. And you have to excuse me, remind me of your name.
Yeah, see,
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about
no problem.
that. All right, so. So one of the issues last time was that, Yassine said that he sold the business.
No, I didn't sold it.
Yeah.
We bought it, like we leased it from the owner. The Shahid Habib was the owner before he was running this business from 2000 like 2019.
Yeah.
The name of West Conway LLC,
Okay.
and all the year was just like, and then he sold that one to NR LLC.
Mhm.
That's for the deed, and I get leased out from the NRLLC. So this one, I have the lease here,
Right, so then,
and lease out from NRLC. This is the lease one, lease
Okay.
document from
Right.
NRLC to the Khan LLC in November. Release that. So the new owner is not like the previous owner was Shahid Habib was completely different person, and then this the NRLC is completely different. So we didn't, there was not like a family members involved, not like a switching over. There was a legitimate transfer of the property and the business included. So that's why we have that on. So that was the first violation was by the name of the West Conway LLC, which is Shahid Habib was the owner of that, and I have the documents. The November, December, we filed with the West Conway LLC, zero taxes because the business was transferred to Khan LLC, and we did file the 2 months taxes on under the name of Khan LLC for the 2 months sale tax and all that. We get the transfer. So this is the old name was 2024 with the West Conway Green. Actually, the Green Mart, the DB, we kept the same name, which is makes sometimes confusion. So the West Conway was in 2024 by the name of West Conway LLC. West Conway and Green Mart.
who's,
But in
who are involved
2025,
in West Conway? What are the-
Shahid Habib, he was involved. Shahid Habib, I have his details. His name is Shahid Habib, live in 19 Spring Meadows. He was running this business.
Kind of explaining of it.
All right, so,
Dr. Greenbacher?
yes,
Also the current business certificate through
Yes.
Greenmart that was since 12/16/2022 has been
Yeah.
in Samir's name, not Shabib Habib, not Shahib Habib. It's been in
Which one?
Samir's name. So right
So
now,
the business certificate, yes, I remember then we talked the last time, we was acquired that time that business, but that didn't go through and the deal doesn't go through. So we still have that business. So, and it was good till 2026. So that's why we continue that one as it is because we didn't reapply for that. Shahid, me and Shahid went to the office and they said, you already have this name. So you just like keep that because it's still available, not expired yet. When it expires, you can get a new one with the Khan LLC with Samir. So that's why at that time that transition doesn't occur. That's why.
but the point is that Samir has been involved in the business since 2022
No, he was
when they
in-
got the business certificate.
He was, yes, that was not involved, but he was acquiring that business, but the deed doesn't finalize, but he was implied, that's correct, he was implied. And he was on the W-2 and he have his thing was his taxes, he was implied.
and Samir's your son, who is,
Yes, my
who
son.
you're saying that is taking it over.
Yeah.
Samir is gonna be apparently, yes, the only
Yeah.
person.
Right, so, so here we have Samir, and here we have it's notarized,
Yes,
right? So, and this is from 2022, and
Yes.
Samir's on this,
yes. but-
right? And
Yeah,
Megan, that's how
what I
you,
said, when we
you understand as well?
obtained this one, the business did not transfer, the sale doesn't occur. And there was still stay with the Shahid Habib name till November 2024.
so for 2 years.
No, November 2000, no, that was like, so this one is, we have that certificate from the department.
Yeah.
When me and Shahid went, because you have to, when the owner can go, they can cancel and they reissue the new one.
And did you
But-
cancel it?
We canceled the Shahid Habib, the West.
And do you have a new
Conway.
one?
No, they said you still have update because we pay the fees. and
Yeah,
the
so,
office
but
told us-
he's on it from there. So if you're continuing with this certification,
Mhm.
he's on it this whole time. And so if you just let it
But
run,
that-
then
no,
he's
no,
he's
but
part
that
of it.
business, no, that business.
And so then
was-
you can't, if you already have the certificate and then you let it be, even if, then he's on the certificate from 22. He's on the certificate from 22. Yes?
He is on the
No,
business.
He wasn't, but the business was not transferred to the.
So do you have a new certificate?
Because there was still like, that's why it was still.
Yeah,
good.
because he's here the whole time. And so if you don't have a new certificate showing that now he's
Mhm.
on the certificate, we have one that says he's on the certificate from 22.
But we didn't cancel that at that time.
So you
From
didn't cancel it. So
2022.
it's still in place.
No, we canceled, Shahid canceled the West Conway LLC, the time of when he did the deal with in November. So he canceled that one and we took this one, the original one to the office.
Yeah.
They said, you already have that one. You never use that one. We still apply, you already pay the fees. So just continue that one, 2026, you can reapply. So we're going to give you the new with the name of Samir, the new one.
Who is Sikandar
The NRLLC, the NRLLC.
Okay, but
And
she's
he's in the-
also,
he's
she's
in the-
also part of your Con LLC
He-
with Samir.
Yes, he's the, because of the NRLLC and Khan LLC.
So how, but my understanding is if she's on NR LLC.
Yeah.
And she's selling it to Samir, how does she have an LLC with Con?
No.
Con's LLC with
So
Samir.
this is the lease. This is the lease with, from a landlord, NRLLC, the Sikandar, and that's the Khan LLC, the Samir.
Right, but this is just the,
The lease, yeah.
yeah,
that's what-
for the
for-
space, but not for the business.
For the, no, this is for the business and that is for the store. See, I'm paying rent to the store.
So you're leasing the actual business too?
My son is leasing the business from NRLLC, yes, because Shahid.
So who
if
owns
he's-
it? So who owns the actual business then?
NRLLC.
All right,
from-
so-
Yeah,
So if there's been no change in ownership of the business, then it's a second violation.
Yeah.
no, the ownership change, that's.
No, you just.
No, you just said it's
that the
leased.
ownership, you said that it's
You
owned
said
by NR.
They own it.
Also, yes,
You're leasing.
but the violation was when the first violation occurred, that was under the name of West Conway LLC and the owner was Shahid Habib. That's the only thing. That time, he was the owner when the first violation occurred. He was the owner. Not NRLLC was not the owner, neither the Khan LLC was the owner. So that was only the request. The first violation was happened, that was Shahid Habib was the owner and the name was,
And so do we have a bill of sale for the business
yes. Here.
from,
Notarized and recorded, I mean.
Yeah, bill of-
Anybody can type something.
and so again, we don't have it. And so this is not been notarized, correct?
No, my problem on the
All right,
right,
so that-
on the right side, there's nothing.
No,
It's
there's
not in the
nothing.
official use part.
So,
I explained that earlier too. You need to have that stamped and notarized on the official use part.
and besides, this is,
Otherwise, it's just an empty application.
this is, it's been $5,000.
And plus the deed have 145 or something
But this was paid by,
paid by NRLLC to Shahid for the West Con LLC, yes. And then we lease it from NRLLC as per my lease agreement.
The other thing as well is Conder's on the board of Con LLC and NOR LLC, which apparently
but on both.
both. I don't know if that's allowed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so the question is like this, and then on top of it, the business, we said that we have to have a bill of sale. And again, there's nothing, it's not notarized or anything else.
Okay, I mean.
And then on top of it, we said that like to have a bill of sale for a business,
Mhm,
you have to have a bill of sale that's like essentially market value.
mhm.
And so your business is worth $5,000 total?
No, it's what.
Yeah, exactly. So this doesn't,
So
so,
they have, that's why they have the deed as well. So that's why they have a deed for
but we're
that.
not talking about a deed. We said that you had to come through with a bill of sales
Mhm,
that demonstrated that the business was sold at market value
mhm.
to someone new. And you don't have that.
They have-
So does anyone have? But this is not a deed. This is for what? This is a deed for what?
This is the deal for that's the deal for the whole thing. That was for the business. And then see that the business for 100 and that's why we put NRLC, see? They have, see that also an NRLC over here for the bill of sale. So,
For land and building.
yeah, 124, 123, so 124.
But this is for the land.
The whole thing, like the.
The problem is you're
including
in the building, but you're leasing it.
So the business is
But you
included.
buy
with
the
that.
land in the building.
No,
Yeah, so that's included, the business include with that.
Mike, can you check to see if somebody's trying to get in? I think Meredith is trying and Brian.
Sorry, yeah. I got him.
All right, so so you're saying that this one was also not, is there,
Yeah, that's the recording, that's why I highlighted, it's all recorded and.
and is there a signature page on this? Is there
Yeah, they have a signature on that, on the report.
on this side? Okay, so but this is for that.
Yeah.
What about for
And that's
this?
that.
And this is for,
Yeah, this part of that. I just used to reduce the paper, so that's why I put on both side copies.
All right, so, and do you have the originals? These are not the originals.
No, I make a copies, but I do have the originals. That these originals with the NRLC, the honors, and I have my these originals with me.
Oh, original, okay. Thoughts?
It's kind of summarized here.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm interested, like N or LLC.
NLLC.
Yeah, who's the owner of that?
Sikandar, I have his name on in this sheet.
Okay.
That's supposed to be-
Sikandar Pracha and
So-
plus,
And so, and Cinder,
see that one?
Cinder is
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
is also an
See-
owner of.
Yeah, Samir Khan, and on the other name, see that there's a board of like from the
Okay.
correction department from the certificate of amendment. So this is my one name and this is the second name, this both.
Okay.
So-
And then do you have the names for the new company?
Yes, NRLC?
Yeah.
And Samir's your son.
Yes.
Okay. And so Samir has been,
So they both signed with the seller and the purchaser to the same. They're
The seller is gone, seller is Shahid Habib. The seller was before, see, the seller was this one, this was the seller. See the seller and the previous, all the document was the seller name.
The seller was NRC.
No,
That's NR,
new
yeah.
seller, the seller was Shahid Habib, West Conway LLC. Yeah, it's just, it's a little bit complicated, but
and you have transfer of liquor license.
yes,
That's-
everything, yeah, all the like lottery license is a liquor license and that's the lottery license is all. And I do have even the 2024, most recently from the last year was with the name of, where there was West Conway LLC. See, there was till June 2025. And then we have the newest from till December with the Khan LLC. Before there was with West Conway
That's
LLC.
Okay, so. And the con,
So that was the West Conway, the
Yeah.
previous owner, there's the new owner, the Khan LLC.
and when was this from?
This is for 2025, June. Because they do like a 6 month, the lottery license, they review every 6 months.
And do we know who the owners are from West Cohen?
No, the West Conway,
Yeah.
was Shahid Habib. And they have the name of the, on, that was his 2024, that his name, on his name, West Conway LLC.
Okay. And then,
Shahid.
okay, so then. And then Megan. Can you hear me?
You're muted, Megan, sorry.
So,
Okay,
No, we're
perfect.
done.
Now I can talk. So,
right.
yeah,
do
go
we
ahead.
have documents? Do we have documents that the Shahid Habib is also on RC? I mean,
NR.
NR?
He was, the Shahid Habib was the
I'm-
seller to NRLC.
I'm not quite sure. It would be in that paperwork, but I am
Yeah,
looking right
okay.
now at one of them from one of the LLCs. I can only
See,
see
that was
one
the Shahid Habib, the
pages.
last year, the
I
2024.
got it, so it's in-
Oh, sorry.
no problem.
And the one from 2022
Yeah.
has Samir Khan as manager, and then it has Sakandra Paruka as manager, and
Yeah.
it has SOC signatory as Samir Khan. So he was also on one of the LLCs in 2022 as a signature something, and that was signed
Because
on
he was
November
working,
7th,
so he was like a
2024.
manager, he was an employee. He was employed, so that's another confusion, he was employed, and that time he was not even 21, so he cannot get his liquor license or beer and wine license on his name as well. So he was an employee for a long time, I have all his tax returns record as well.
I mean, I
So he
think
was-
really like, it's just that I mean, he's been on paperwork. The problem is they just keep switching the LLCs every couple years.
Right.
And we know
Yeah.
from what the Tobacco Coalition says is that they do this to avoid
Yeah.
the fines. So
Right. Right.
this
I
has
mean,
been
so,
going on for years.
right. And so. Because this is from. Where's the date on this? Okay, so right. Expires.
That was expired this year, end of this year, because that's the new one, this is the old one. So that's the comparison. It was between Westcon LLC. Okay, so then was, and there was a Shahid Habib, the manager till
Right.
2024, when now he's done, so now with the new.
And then. The. And this took place. The sale you said took place when?
My concern is just Samir and Sikandar have been on a couple of LLCs together.
Right.
And your lease,
The recent one.
well, the cons one right here.
Yeah, the recent one, yes, but.
This was from 2022.
But.
The deal is again, so listen, but she's now the landlord
Mhm.
over Samir. But they were on an LLC for this business before already, where they had a
No.
permit together. They had a business certificate right here. It's right here, both of them. NR LLC.
Yes,
And
and,
you're saying she's now the one
No,
that's
no,
the
and I-
landlord and Samir is not, but Samir is on that.
yeah, but that's,
LLC.
what date is that from?
It's from 6/8/2022.
22?
Yeah, it's right here from the Secretary of the Commonwealth, Massachusetts.
I have, well, the one I have is.
So that's, you know, they're on that LLC together in 2022.
Right.
And now he's apparently the landlord under that LLC and he's the lease.
This is the, and how that's from 2020, because the Sikandar guy, he just entered in 2024 to obtain, to buy the business, so I don't think so that why he was in.
But Seconder,
2022.
but, so this is from when? This is from 2022?
2022.
So
I
Seconder is,
Oh, sorry. I just
go ahead.
found one under Cons LLC on Mass Corporations, and it says Samir Khan was on Cons LLC with Sikandra Peruka. So he
And
was
the
on the
Tarisha?
LLC when it was Cons, and that's who had that's who had the permit last time.
okay, and so Cons had it last time. It's starting when? When do you see it? That,
This was 6/8/2022 is when that one was certified.
and that was for Green Market.
It was, yeah,
Oh,
it's,
Cons.
well, it's for Cons LLC, but that's who we gave the tobacco permit to, is Cons LLC.
At that time.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
And
In
Samir's on it.
2022?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's the same date here,
Right.
6/8/2022,
Right.
Cons LLC.
Yeah, okay.
These two.
Right. I mean, this sure looks like Samir's been part of the business and he's,
That's why I said he's.
I mean, here he is at Con LLC in 22. And so, I mean, here,
That's him down as a manager
And
Right.
NR.
Yes, that's.
and a signature.
That's what, because I said, that's why I said, because he was underage, he was not even 21. So we have it as an employee. He was there as an employee. He just turned, or when he turned 21 and he become a partner, like.
He's a signatory.
He's the tenure signatory and a manager of this company.
so he's
So-
intimately involved in the company. He's a signatory of that company in 2022. But he's in 2022, he's a signatory.
No, when we did amendment, that when the first time we get, okay, so the first time when you get the company was there was no, Sikandar Pracha was not in the company. When I did amendment, we do the amendment. So then just like us, he opened the Han LLC company in 2022, but the business was never occurred to 2022 because we never bought that. We did have the company and we reinstated the company. We reinstated the company in 2024.
Right.
During
So-
2022, there was no business at all on the name of Han LLC. We didn't file no taxes on that company. We didn't obtain no.
Who was the license under?
Because
Who was-
we didn't apply for any licenses.
So for 2 years, you didn't sell alcohol or
No,
tobacco?
no, we have a Shahid Habib, the West Conway LLC, the owner for the.
So so tobacco was sold under someone else's license then?
Yeah, because the business just got transferred in 2024 and November. That's why we start putting our tax. Okay, Samir opened his account LLC when he was 2020, who is doing some online business for his thing, and he have his company, but he never used the company. So when we obtain the company, when the time comes, he paid the $1,000, 500 for 2 years to regenerate the same. Before that, there is no, you will find no tobacco license on his name. You will find nothing, not at all, something like, because we didn't occur the business on that. So when the time comes, when he were old enough and the business sold out to another LLC from Westcon LLC, then we pay $1,000 to reinstate the company instead of opening a new company, because we have, so that's why, that's the only, when you do the amendment, when you put the name, so that's why the Paracha name was added in November. The Paracha not added into 2022, because that Paracha guy, he just appeared in September when he started buying the business.
And Megan,
That's the-
do we have the tobacco license? Like, for the,
Yeah, you can find.
The most recent tobacco license is in the NR LLC, or that
Okay,
one.
right,
It's
so,
been switched over to that one
and then that's the most recent one. And so,
from the Department of Revenue, I think. Oh, yeah, I think that's the one.
wait, so it's under NR?
No.
It's-
The most recent is under Con or NR?
Con LLC, not the.
No,
I'm not quite sure. Mike's gonna
No,
like
that's
it.
This is under.
Under Con So. That's the.
I mean, in reality, it's
Right,
Yasim
right.
and Samir that are working there, and they've been working there since I started 5 years ago. And so
Right.
when there's sales to minors, it's the same people that are doing it.
Yeah. And, okay, so there's.
I believe it's under Con LLC.
So if that's, I mean, if the tobacco license
We
is
never
under,
obtained tobacco license in 2022, 2023 on the name of Samir Khan or the name of LLC. We never.
let's,
obtained any
just wait, just let's,
Yeah.
And they don't need any paperwork. They don't need to prove it's a bona fide sale to get a new tobacco permit, like to get the tobacco license.
And
The
so-
only thing they have to do the bona fide sale is for us.
right,
So
right,
they're the ones that would have to decide whether it's a bona fide sale. And
right.
I haven't seen any paperwork that says it was sold.
Yeah, I just bring that today. I just bring that document today.
Right, so, okay, so we have. Right, so we have this. Saying that the property was sold, correct?
So they probably come with the fixture.
Terms of financial government.
I think it's,
And when Yasim told me that he would bring some paperwork that said that that it was sold, I asked him to bring some receipts that showed where it was deposited and whose name was on those accounts as well.
well, so,
that
and also,
no
like,
one
this
can
is the
say
one thing
people.
about this, is that this says that it was sold to NR.
Yes, and LLC, yes, Sikandar Pracha. Yes.
But then-
Shahid Habib sold that.
So that says the land was sold to NR?
Yeah, that's what.
So NR is the leasing though to Samir, and
Right.
Samir was on NR in 2022.
Right. And so, wait, and so,
Same one.
wait, so at NR, it looks like that it's Sukhinder
Sikandar, yeah, yes, yes.
and as the signature.
Yeah.
And was Samir on
In 2022, he opened,
NR?
no, we add, Khan LLC, we add Sikandar in NLLC because we have the lease together with NLLC. the sublease.
So help me out, guys. So,
I mean, in 2022, he's on the NR. LLC. It's right
Right.
there
Yeah.
from the Commonwealth, from the Secretary's.
Right.
And
And
for the LLC.
we know that the NR was running the business at that time.
Yeah.
The
And
NR
then I guess apparently you have a document that says NR
Well, just said that
just bought the land.
just bought the land. Right. But it sounds like NR was also running the business.
In 2022.
No, that's the dispute, that's,
So you're using that address
no, that,
for a business certificate.
no, okay, so 2022, okay, Khan LLC opened by my son for doing the online business. He have his home address, 215 Kings Highway. He was a 215 Kings Highway, his resident.
In 2020,
22.
For Khan.
2022. Say,
for what company?
for Khan LLC, Samir Khan, 215 Kings Highway, he opened for his online business.
That one's the Conway address.
It says 122 Conway
No,
Street.
no. So when, that's the question, in the very first time, because this is amendment, so you can see, this is the amendment ones.
Yeah.
This is all the amendments. So he never used it, he never do any business on that, but he had that account. So when we acquired that lease, so then we pay $1,000 for the 2 years to obtain his company back to, and we add Sikandar Pracha, and that's because Sikandar Pracha just entered in 2024 to buy the building and the business. So that's why, if you go the original ones, that's the amendments. If you go to the originals is only by name of Samir Khan, which is he got that for his own personal business. But because we didn't apply any, you will see there is no tobacco license on his name. For 2022, there is no like a nicotine license on his. We only did like a 1 year for a little bit on Amazon, but he had the company. So we didn't use the company instead of.
Well, you can see from our point of view
Yes.
that, we have what seems like kind of musical chairs going on
Yes,
here, and then a
yes,
number of violations, you know what I mean?
So I guess here, I think at this point, is there any more discussion amongst the board? So, so I move to close the hearing and then we'll vote on it. So move to close the hearing.
Second.
Vote, the hearing's closed. All right, and so I make a motion that that we recognize the two violations prior to this most recent one in June 14. So the January 10th and the June 9th, 2024 as the first and second. So 24 and the 2025 is first and second violation. Second that. Second.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote on it. All right, so we'll recognize those, the January, right, that's the second one, the January 10, 25.
Yes.
As the second violation. All right. Anyway, so, motion's passed. Move on to the next hearing about,
Wait, I'm sorry, Darius, who seconded that and was it all in favor?
yeah, there's all in favor. Yeah, so
Okay.
pass, all in favor, unanimous.
I think I'll second it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And so then,
You can open the hearing on this one.
we're gonna open another hearing on penalties for these. So I guess, Megan,
Yes.
are we gonna,
No.
for penalties, do we incur the penalties for the first two violations before addressing the third violation?
No, we can say right now they automatically get the $2,000 fine plus the 7-day suspension. So that's going to happen. We'll
That's
give them the notice when that's going to start. So now we're discussing the one that just happened, and we can ask Meredith to give her testimony on the newest violation that
All right, so-
that just happened a few weeks ago.
So I move to open a hearing on the third violation for Green Mark. Seconded. All right, vote. Unanimous, passes. All right. So Meredith,
Hi, Greenfield Board of Health. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Hi, Megan. Sorry, I'm
doing?
off camera. I'm gonna ask, just to introduce myself, I'm Meredith O'Leary. I'm the Pioneer Valley Tobacco Coalition Coordinator. I also wear dual hats. I am the Health Commissioner for the City of Northampton. Today, I'm representing the PVTC Coalition. The Tobacco Control Officer who conducted the youth compliance check, Inspector Ryan Paxton, is on with us tonight and he can provide testimony.
And the tobacco control officer, GT, who did the compliance.
Ryan, you're coming in a little fuzzy.
You're muted, Ryan.
I think he's left, he's gonna come back in.
Ryan,
Hi, can you hear me?
we can now.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, let my video off just for my reception. So anyway, I conducted the most recent
So close.
Okay, I'm happy to provide testimony. I get written affidavits from all my TCOs if you'd like me to.
Please.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Oh, It's popping back in. Let's
is he
see.
coming back on?
Yeah, let's see if he
Maybe
pops.
third time's the charm, we'll see.
I'll give him a minute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Ryan.
All right, so on Saturday, June 10th, 25 at approximately 10:24 a.m., I visited the Green Mart located at 122 Conway Street in Greenfield. At that time, the youth officer entered Green Mart with two $10 bills and their cell phone. The officer entered the primary entrance to Green Mart from my car. I had parked along West Street facing away from the intersection of Conway Street and West Street. Upon returning to my vehicle, the youth officer reported that they asked the clerk, who was an adult male who appeared to be white and wearing a hat and a black shirt, for a can of Zyn Smooth 6 milligram nicotine pouches. The clerk did not ask the youth officer for their ID or for their age. The clerk sold the youth officer the can of nicotine pouches, and the youth officer returned to my vehicle with the nicotine pouches, their cell phone, and $12 in change. The cost of the nicotine pouches was $8. At this time, the youth officer provided all information relating to the sale, which was then entered into the post database immediately. The nicotine patches were labeled with the information itself and conspiracy stored as evidence. And thank you for the opportunity to share tonight. Sorry about the connectivity issues, and if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thanks, Ryan.
Meredith, do you have anything to add?
I honestly, the testimony was an accurate description of what happened. I hope you were able to hear it very well. You know, one of the key points here is that this location has historically been selling tobacco and or nicotine products to minors. I recommend that the board consider the pattern of the violations associated with the location when they're thinking about the penalty and fine.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys got any discussion?
Right.
I mean, it sounds like
Yeah.
there's a
All right, so move to close the hearing.
second.
So unanimous, the hearing's closed. All right, and then
Did Yasim want to say anything about the hearing? did he
No, I'm
have
good
any?
because let's just like the employee, the third violation, which is legitimate, I agree with that because the employee was very first weekend by self, he was just like a 2 weeks employee, not as a part-timer. It was Saturday morning and when somebody came and did he sell it. So and when I received the letter, same I texted him and he had just shown him a text message too. I said, listen, why you did that? And he did, yes, might be I sold by mistake and I'm ready. So he apologized.
The employee did admit.
The employee, he admitted right away and I can read his text for everybody. So yeah, he apologized and I told him that that's legitimate. That's the only the concern was like the previous one. I know we did the 2 violation, which is we agree with that.
Yeah.
Apologize. We just start this because we have a 3 more years. We try not to do that stuff, not willingly, but the first time was the employee, the second time was the employee. So that's the thing, like the employee, like too much involved in their cell phone, they don't pay attention. Sometimes they overlook they did a mistake.
So when I see this
Yes,
violation summary,
yeah,
that if you look at that looks like a pretty significant repeating pattern.
Yeah.
Of violating the law as far as tobacco goes.
that's.
And so here's the deal is if you have a business and you already have a pattern of violating
Mhm.
the tobacco laws, and then you have employees, you're responsible for employees not selling to minors and not breaking the law under your,
I mean,
under your business's name.
Are employed very well but they did a mistake. I mean, there's no excuse for that. to
Right,
be honest
there's no
with you.
excuse.
There's no excuse.
That's it, there's no excuse. So there's really no
That's-
reason to
that's the
talk about
general-
this.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. We had to be more careful. You had to be like,
Yeah,
the business
absolutely.
and straight save my license, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so like I said before, that's like, again, me and my son just involved directly since November. Before there was like a multiple honors, like it's different way and they pick their employee. Just like I said, my son was the only one and I was the only one working, but my son was only a part-timer before. So now we get involved 100%, but we did, my 2 employees did this first 2 violation, which is very recently, and I have a 36 more. I don't want to be any violation, but the thing is that, my thing is that when we refuse like most 10 to 15 people every single day, and sometimes we face problems as well. Sometimes they scratch my car outside, sometimes. And I have a video, one time I personally asked a guy, he's a tall guy, look young, I asked him, he was drinking a Coke or something, he just bought the Coke and he came to the counter. He asked me to give me some, I said no. And he just flipped the bottle on me and I have still that video. I mean, we're facing a lot of thing. We make enemies every single day, especially the kids.
Yeah.
We make I get a flat tire in the middle of the night in the sun because I just refused a guy and he went outside and he just flattened my tire over middle of the snow days. We're facing this kind of problem as well. And plus the other thing, I have only request when they send in the people, after that we ID them, we let them, they go back. They have to send some time to the shop owners, not only, I'm not talking for myself, for all. They have to send the red, we give them lines, you guys do it good and this is your appreciation letter. Let's give a motivation to the owners, to the employees, to everybody. Hey, look at you, ask for the ID, you did a good job. So keep it like that way too. But we always, whenever we buy mistakes, we sell, and that's always in our code, and which is acceptable. It's not, there's no excuse for that. So that's the only my request that is.
And from my point of view, the last thing I want to do is hand out fines, suspend people's license. But there has to be some accountability at the same time. And you're a business owner. I'm sure you work very hard, and I'm sure you face kind of
7 days a week, 7 days.
Absolutely, and I'm acknowledging that.
Yes.
But unfortunately, our hands are kind of bound, and we do have to have accountability.
Breaking the law, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Sure.
There's no
Yeah.
excuse for that. Right?
Good.
We try to do best, but we at the other end. Okay, so like we facing this kind of like a chit chat, like a cussing us, like a calling names, like we are facing all this kind of stuff
Yeah,
as well.
I guess the main question is, did the violation happen?
Multiple times.
Did this last violation happen?
So sorry
Did
again.
this last violation happen?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we need to know, because really the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just
so
is the
my
event.
mistake. And then I just like said, my employee admitted that he did, and I admitted right away to us. Next day
Yeah.
I came, I talked to Michael, I said, look at that, my employee did a mistake.
That makes sense, but the violation did happen,
Yeah,
so
so
that's all
there's
that really matters.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Meredith,
try to do better. I'm trying to do more better and get more
Awesome.
closer.
That's great.
Try not to get
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Want to add something, Meredith?
I absolutely would. Thank you for calling on me. So, right, it's important to note that the only formal action the board needs to vote on is whether the violation occurred. The
Right.
penalties for the sale to the minor, including the fine amount and the suspension length, are outlined in the state law, which is 105 CMR 665, must be imposed accordingly. However, if the board affirms that a violation did take place, you are within your authority to request or recommend additional interventions aimed at preventing future incidents. For example, some boards, when we are in this position, that we have repeat offenders, to install electronic ID scanners, to put documentation saying we card all. These supplemental actions can support compliance efforts in the future. So I just wanted to add that.
Look, I will put a question to you that you've had a number of violations. Do you not have a universal policy within your establishment to card every single person?
We do have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna move.
So you can vote on it if it happens.
So I'm gonna
I
close,
think you should do that.
close the hearing. Second.
Second.
All right, vote passes unanimously. All right, so now make a motion to recognize the third violation and impose the appropriate penalties.
Second.
All right, let's vote on it.
Yep.
Passes. All right.
I guess now you can discuss if you want to kind
So,
of impose.
on the,
Yes, Megan, you can go.
yeah, this is something that we can, so after the third violation, then you have to have a
Revocation.
hearing to discuss whether you're going to revoke the permit or whether you're going to come up with different things like the electronic ID. Is that right,
Yes.
Meredith? Or can they say the electronic ID now?
They can state it now as part of a requirement to be permitted. Because remember, the permit is a privilege.
So if you guys want to discuss on any of the things you might want to have them do to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
And Meredith and Megan, would you guys clarify after the third? When does revocation come up?
So your local regulation, I believe it says the fourth violation.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Well, I mean, you're there. So you know that if you come back from another, so anything that they recommend, I would approve. I would say you would want to follow. Because you get another one, then in the tobacco regs, it would revoke the license. So if you guys want to discuss if you want to make him have a policy or possibly the electronic reader, I think if anything, it just protects him as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts on this of steps that you're gonna take?
Definitely, I would try to more being train my employee very well and just, I don't want to be honest with you, I don't want any other violation. I'm on the very edge. I don't want to lose my license.
Yes.
Tobacco is a part of our business.
Sure.
Every day thing that we generate money, we pay taxes,
Yes.
stuff like that is a part of that. I mean, I cannot afford if the tobacco, I lose the license, I might lose the whole business.
Mhm.
And because at least I have a more expenses to, I
Sure.
need to continue with the license, but I need to be more careful.
Sure.
And if the suggestion if that the electronic license reader, I can obtain that one. I can figure out how that I can get that
Yeah.
one to install on my system as well.
And I mean, if it's the difference between your business being viable or not, it might be a worthwhile investment because like you said,
I mean, I have to take all measures to control that. No more violations.
Yeah.
That's my target. No more violations. But I'm on the edge, so I need to do
Sure.
better. So yeah, that's my so and I will be willing to pay the fine, of course. That's my responsibility because I break the law. I have to pay the fines, so I'm gonna be able to pay the fines. And plus, the only request that I will say that if you guys are gonna suspension, I want to make a minimum suspension as an apology. I'm requesting you to give him a minimum.
There's just a, so
Suspensions are
Yeah.
locked in.
it's already,
Yeah,
it's already,
You could do, if anything, they can give you leeway on when you do them, or if you want them concurrent. So you could do all of them at once, or you could break it into two, and they can give you the leeway on when.
Yeah, I
Want to
can
serve
break
it.
it, yeah, certain times.
But the length of them is set in stone by the state.
right, and Megan and Meredith, correct me if I'm wrong. So after the second violation,
Mhm.
then it's a week suspension. Meredith,
Yep.
would you
so
tell us
this-
again?
Yep. So the second is 2,000 and a 7-day, and then the third consecutive days, and then the third is 5,030 consecutive days.
Okay, so,
So he would have to serve 37 consecutive days.
right, and then, and what does anyone have a feeling about we have the, we have the tobacco control committee and they're doing a good job monitoring and they're, and so I'm not sure if like the electronic reader, and an electronic reader is just, I mean, it doesn't have to be used, correct? I mean, someone could just,
Right.
Right.
It's all, it's
And
all
It all
about.
depends on how it gets set up. I know some places, they have it like, they can't complete a sale unless it's scanned and it's an appropriate age verification.
so, thoughts,
May I add another recommendation?
please.
Just because I've been at a couple of the hearings, and I heard him say again that it was, his sales clerks. There is a free online training at the MHOA website, or MAHB. I would ask that all of his staff, including management, take this training.
And is there a way that they can demonstrate that they've taken the training?
It might print out a certificate of completion at the end. But I know that, they get a report of the communities, number of people in the community that do a retailer training, sales clerk training.
Right, so-
I can find out more about that.
Would you do that, Meredith? Because I mean,
Absolutely. Mhm.
because I think it only makes sense to ask them to do it if we can verify.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, would you tell us more about the electronic card reader? I mean, is that something that can be directly attached to, like, so someone can't put in a sale?
Yep, absolutely. So there are different variations of those, but you can buy a more, it's a little more expensive, modern version that's hooked up to your point of sale machine. And you actually cannot, a lot of liquor stores have this, you cannot make the sale unless an ID is read through the ID reader. We have seen, stores find workarounds as well. So we have to be, make sure that that's not happening.
Right.
But yeah, a sale can't be made unless a physical ID is put up to the machine and read.
And this is just getting nitpicky, but do you have any idea how much those cost?
I don't.
Okay.
It's like, I have friends, they have it like.
Hmm.
And he said he's in the store in Amherst. I will ask him, I think about like a 6,000 or between
Yeah.
6,000 and 7,000.
So this is- Kind of like Tomas said, like, we don't want to take away your license. We don't want to mess up your business. Like, this is, we're not here to punish people. And we want just compliance. And so we want to make sure that the community is safe and that the children are safe. And so if there's ways that you can make sure that sales are never to underage, because the next time you're going to have your license revoked.
Definitely, I know.
Right. And so,
This would protect you as much as protecting
Yeah.
the public. So it protects everyone.
Yeah.
It would be my opinion on it, So I think if it costs 6,000 or whatever it costs, that's, don't get me wrong, 6,000, it's money. It's a small amount of money when compared to the viability of a business. So
That's true.
that would be my opinion. I'm not a business owner, but
and so I guess the question to us is, do we make this part of the penalty for the second, or do we just leave it up to you?
I think it would be a good recommendation to endorse because, we do have a pattern here and it seems like we're banging our head against the wall.
Right.
And this way I would hope is a little bit more foolproof.
I
Yeah.
mean, again, and with you having an employee recently, after all of these other violations, still not doing the right thing. So, I mean, I think that is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And so,
And
should we-
even if it's, and I don't want to say a non-trustworthy employee, but if the employee's slacking a little bit,
right.
if they physically can't put the sale through without the card, I mean, their hands are tied. So
And we'll still do the monitoring with the tobacco.
They still do that.
This is going to happen.
And the other thing to think about too is that, he's doing it and if a fourth violation did happen, I mean, you did pretty much everything you could do to try to prevent that.
Right. And really,
You can't really come back and say that it was
Right.
somebody else, because if they make you get the machine, then you have to scan it. You either work around it or
And that's what I mean. It protects you.
protects everybody, yeah. And I think with the, the severity of what can happen on a fourth violation, I would welcome to have something that can make that not happen.
Yeah, sure, I agree.
Or at least increase the ability of it not
I'm
happening.
gonna make a motion that we add to this, that second violation penalty, which you have a card reader that is directly
Mhm.
connected to the register, since you can't make tobacco sales without it. Second. Let's show the vote, right, unanimous vote. Right, so I guess the main thing is, when are we gonna to have that, and are you gonna, do you inspect, how do we?
So we'll check, everything needs to be removed out of the store. So there's no tobacco or tobacco products can be on the premises at all. Can't just put it in a back room. It all needs to be removed. So we would check on that. So the first day that you would start the suspension, someone would come down and make sure that everything's been removed. As far as when you want to do it, I mean, if you want to work with him on a time frame, it's gonna be 37 days. So if you want to come up with a certain month, I mean, that's totally up to you guys to discuss if you want to leeway on that. It doesn't have to obviously start right away. Because
Yeah, so I
discuss
guess
that.
amend the motion, so why don't we add a date to that? Should we give you 3 days to have it in place more?
I don't have an opinion. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this.
Yeah, I just don't know how long it takes to actually get the system, get it all set up.
Right,
So I
right.
mean, I don't wanna
Yeah.
put a constraint, like, you gotta get it done in 2 weeks, then all of a sudden, like, well, I can't even get it shipped.
Well, I mean, you could also run the trying to get the system in as a thing after his suspension, which would give him 37 days to get the program up and running and get it in there.
Why don't we add
That
to
could be
the
helpful.
motion that we'd like it in place
By the time this.
by the time you're done with your suspension,
Mhm.
which will be 37 days from today.
Did you have anything else, Meredith?
No, you covered it.
Okay,
If you have any questions for me, I'm available.
all right.
Dr.
Thank you.
Greenbacher, let's not start the suspension
Oh.
today, though. Let's,
Oh, next debate.
No.
Okay. What do you recommend?
You can discuss
Also,
that.
You're muted
one-
again, Megan,
I
sorry.
have a question. I just want, because you said the
Sorry, I
several
would
was
say,
7 days. If I do the 7 days and
after
then
the
I
4th
can.
of July.
30 days.
Yeah,
Okay, so I
yeah.
can
So you
partial
do,
that.
you do 37 days total.
Yeah, I will do 7 day
He's
total.
wondering if you break it up into a week and then.
If I can break it up.
Like, do the first one is like the
The
7
first-
days, and then-
I'm not, so Meredith, I'm not sure with that, because I know they have to be consecutive each one. But could he do could he do the second violation week and then do the 30 days, 2 weeks later?
That is at the discretion of the board for sure, but like Mike
Okay.
had said, he has to take all tobacco and nicotine
Yeah.
products off the premise. So it's a lot of work.
Bring it back in for a couple
For
weeks.
him, so
Next
it's,
December.
4th of July weekend or something.
so I
And-
would recommend, just getting it all done at one time.
Yeah, because you do have to remove everything. So so if you did it for a week and you brought it all back in, you'd have to bring it back out the next 2 weeks or something. So I guess that's kind of your discretion if he wants to do it. I guess that's on him. But I mean, we're gonna make sure it's all gone.
What's your reasoning for breaking it up? Just interesting.
7 days continuing consistently is.
37 days long.
Very long, so 37 days consistent.
What are you asking for?
No, I was just like asking like I have a 3 violation, just like a 7 days. And then after give me like at least 2 or 3 weeks, and then I can do 15 days and then 15 days.
No.
No, the 30 has to be all together.
We don't have a choice in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, It goes 30
We can,
days.
we can break up the 7 and the
that
30.
little like because I know this is the season, like we have a little busy timing over the summer like that. If I do the 7 days within for July, I can do the 7 days in July. And then I can give me 1 month August break and I can run the whole month in September, October, is that
Alright.
possible?
I think that,
So the 30 days have to be consecutive.
Yeah, that's why I said, that's why no, any like, just like said, 1 month, like a consecutive from any, like from starting.
Yeah, so you could do, I mean, if you wanted to do the 7 days in July.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the rest of July and then have the whole month of August, you could do
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah, that's the only request because I want to be like.
How does that fit in with the motion to bring in the electronic reader?
Well, I would just say the electronic reader probably at the end of the 30 days, just because that gives them 30
Yes, and I'm
days. to
working on
get
that.
everything in there, get the bugs worked out of it.
And I will already start working on the reader as
at
well.
the very latest, you have to.
Yes, I will start
End of the
working on that.
30
Even I can even try.
And you also, but you know, you have to keep in your head now, though, that if you're gonna be open during that time frame and you don't have the reader and something happens.
No, that's why I said that's my first.
It's gonna be on you.
The first thing tomorrow, I'm gonna call my friend he have, I can go to see his store, how they look like, how
The
much.
sooner the better, but again, if you
That's
guys
fine.
want to set a date, it's the end of the 30 days.
The reader is to protect both the youth of the community, but it's also protect I mean, we want you to be successful in this.
Thank you.
Right, and so if that helps prevent you from getting the 4th violation and having your license taken away.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, we want you to stay in business, but we also want you to,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
not violate the law. All right, so Megan, you still there?
Oh, her laptop died.
Okay. So I guess the question was, and maybe you can answer this, when do we start the
So
first?
you can start the first one, whenever you want. I
She
mean,
was saying that she was recommending not starting.
yeah, not today, because usually it gives them a couple days to get things together and get things moving to get them out of the store. So I would probably maybe go from a week. But I mean, what are you looking at? Like first week in July, second week in July? Second would be good because of the holiday, okay.
Holiday and all that stuff.
So what do we have for that? So you could do,
So the second week of July starts July 7th, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it would be, so if you did the 7th through the 14th. So you could do that.
7 to the 14, yeah, that's fine, 7 to the 14.
Okay. And then the month of August.
Taking?
And then the month.
And then you're
Oh,
gonna do
yeah,
the,
the month of August, yeah, so.
do we vote on that? Sure, might as well.
Okay.
We'll make a motion.
Yeah, so motion is to do the first suspension from the 7th of July 2025 to the 14th of July 2025.
Yeah, the second one, can I do in September? If
No.
you guys don't mind?
No.
No, actually.
Well, we're gonna do the motion now.
Yeah.
We're voting.
Okay.
And then
Just request, yeah,
that's okay. The second suspension then will run from 30 days from the 1st of August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
Vote.
So it's unanimous.
Okay, so you got that?
right. So Megan, it's gone. So I will do my update. First, I'm gonna start off with a letter I got from registered sanitarian for a septic system that is going in at 372 Adams Road. Talk about these documents back. Yeah, so they are looking to do they're looking to do an update. They do a waiver for the amount of soil that they need. So they look for a variance that has to be approved through the board. It's mostly because the soils in the area are not good. So I went out there to do a perk test. Most of the soil was bedrock. So we couldn't get down far enough to actually have enough soil to treat the septic system, but it is a repair. So the state lets them get a request for a variance from the board to install they are actually going to be using an Elgin geotextile scan system. So I'll just read the letter that they sent to me. So dear members of the Greenfield Board of Health, I'm writing this letter on behalf of Mr. J. Tim and Jonathan D. Hume of 372 Adams Road in Greenfield, Mass. The applicant wishes to formally request a variance from the State Environmental Code Title V, specifically Section 15240 soil absorption systems. This variance is sought to accommodate the installation of an Elgin geotextile sand filter at 372 Adams Road in Greenfield. Please be aware that the existing soil absorption system was installed in 1956, so we believe it's in failure. During soil evaluations on May 8th, 2025, which were witnessed by me, Michael Thero, and Board of Health, we found bedrock identified at depths ranging from 20 to 37 inches throughout the site. It was determined that the site does not meet or possess the required 4 feet of naturally occurring soil. Based on these findings, we propose installing the Elgin geotextile sand filter 2 feet above bedrock and Title V sand. This alternative system is designed to comply with the intent of the environmental code, ensuring the protection of public health, welfare, and the environment, while still accommodating the specific geological constraints of the site. We believe the solution represents the most feasible and effective option for achieving Title V compliance under these unique conditions of the property. Please let us know if you have any documentation or information that you would need to review this request. So generally speaking, what we were talking about is they allow in a repair a little more leeway, and they will allow variances on the code, mostly because they don't want your house to just not be usable anymore. So they want to go down, usually you have to have 4 feet of occurring soil, sometimes you can go 3. With this, they're requesting 2 because the Elgin is a innovative alternative system, which is approved through Mass DEP. So they can be used in Massachusetts. So they're just requesting to have a 2 foot of soil base instead of the 4 foot. So I'm okay with it. Like I said, I've been on the property. Most of it was bedrock. It's going to be really hard to kind of get any other kind of system in there. So the Elgin is a good system for them to go with. Like I said, you don't want the people to have to lose their house over it.
Right.
We don't get these a lot. It's kind of a weird area of town that just happen to have a lot of bedrock. So I would agree with it, and I'm okay granting them the variance.
Just playing devil's advocate, like downsides to it.
Downsides, Elgins, they're very temperamental. They will, since they do use a lot of sand, they will fill with sand. They sometimes don't last as long as a traditional pipe and stone system or some other systems. You also can't really drive over them. They will crack very easy. So you kind of have to be careful around them all, but treatment wise, they still will treat. It's just kind of more of a life versus quality kind of.
And that would just be more of a headache for the homeowner, I guess.
Yeah.
They might have to replace it sooner than they expect.
Okay.
That would be kind of the issue.
So,
Like I said, it is approved through DEP.
Okay.
Variances are granted in other towns.
so grant the variance.
Yeah, so if you guys want to just vote on that.
So permission to grant the variance?
Yeah.
So you can-
Vote, you know.
I will move on to just a little update of my stuff. So I have been doing some housing's come up, not as much, surprisingly. Usually it's kind of move in, move out period of the year, so I get a lot of housing inspections. I do have my inspector position hopefully opening in the next week or two. I'm going to have the Greenfield full-time inspector position. That should be getting posted in the next 2 weeks. I'm just waiting for one more signature from financing to just get that approved. I will also be able to post my part-time admin assistant position, hopefully come July 1st, once the new budget starts and we have that money locked in for that position. That one's going to be a little tougher. It's an unbenefited part-time position, but I'm going to try to get someone from like Tuesday through Friday from like 12 to 5. My afternoons are more viable to have somebody in the office to answer calls and deal with people and do permitting. So I'm going to hopefully try to shoot for that kind of hour period. Right now in our grant, we are covering for a couple towns right now. Shrewsbury has just lost one of their inspectors for doing septic work. And Sunderland has not been working with their inspector for a little while. I've been on vacation. I'm not sure the status of it, if he's coming back or not. I've also been covering Leverett a little bit too for reviewing plans and looking at finals of septic systems. So that's kind of stretched me a little bit. I have been going a couple different towns now and out into the woods where I haven't been before. So I've been covering a lot of that, mostly just the septic stuff because I have the licenses. So we've been doing that. Hasn't been horrible. We've been working with the towns. So other than just a lot more stuff, it hasn't been too bad. So that's been good, but they've been getting everything done and we've been doing it in a pretty timely manner. So they've been pretty happy. Food permitting right now, it's also my busy year because it's fair season and food truck season and farmers market season. So we're getting all that in. we've had some slow people, getting permits in for some of the festivals. We have been charging late fees, because it does say on our website that you should have your permit and your application in within 14 days before the event. Just so we can review everything and get everything in. Our inspector, Corey, from the PHE grants, he's been really good. He's been keeping up on food inspections. I think he's actually almost going into his second round of food inspections now. We had Aldi's open, so they're open and running now. So that's good. They passed everything and they were good. We haven't had any real issues with most of the other places. They've all been pretty much complying. The fairgrounds has been good. We had the Green River Fest, that went okay. I will say I did get some noise complaints. I know the town is looking at something possibly in the future for a noise ordinance. I'm not sure how much the health department will be involved, but I did get some people calling, complaining about environmental conditions.
When it was over at GCC, were there any issues with?
I'm not sure. I wasn't in this area around that time. So I'm not sure. I was talking just in kind of passing that, I know that through talking with the inspector in Deerfield, that Treehouse Brewery does their concert. And I know that they had some issues, and I know Megan living over there tell me that she could hear it sometimes. But it was also from what I heard that for a couple of years, they were letting the bands kind of control the volume.
Okay.
And now I think that they've gotten pushback from the town that the Treehouse is now controlling the volume.
Deerfield is it?
So Deerfield has been, talking to them a little bit about it. So now Treehouse has kind of pulled back the reins on their control of the volume.
Do they generally have a time they need to finish playing, but they're?
I believe usually it's around 10.
Okay.
Usually that's usually the noise ordinance time. It's usually around 10 o'clock. I grew up next to the Big E, so I used to hear a lot of noise. And Six Flags, so it might be something that will pop its head in the future. One of the other things that I'm not sure if you saw in the paper, so I chair the Lunt involvement group for 298 Federal Street for the old Silversmith building.
I heard about this.
Okay.
Running from Northwood to.
Yeah, so we chair that for the town. I'm the chair of that. We're working with the LLCs or the LSLs to get some of the data from the leasee that's there now. So we're working on trying to get a report that's supposed to be submitted phase 2 to DEP. So working right now, trying to get that. We're also looking into ways to possibly maybe monitor air quality there at the site, because the building is owned by the town. So we'll be looking into some of that stuff. But the Lunt neighborhood group that kind of started this involvement, they actually asked if I could ask you guys if you would be interested in them presenting kind of just a background of the history of it and what they're trying to do with it. So they said they would love to present in front of the board and just kind of give you a background of everything that's happening there, since we've kind of been involved now.
And in that presentation, would you also present kind of from your?
Yeah, I can present kind of what the town's view is.
The same.
Yeah, I can present kind of what the town's view is.
One guy with full.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. And so
And-
we've had a couple meetings, so it's brief right now, but we're trying to move.
You're talking about the State Department of Health.
Yep.
Doing.
No, so it's Mass Department of Environmental
Sorry,
Protection.
pardon me, yeah, and
So-
they're gonna do further groundwater.
So they're not doing any of the testing. So
Okay.
They had filed a complaint with the town because the town owns the property. So when the initial testing had happened, it was high. They filed a complaint with the town. The town has to do the remediation. But when they leased the property to the new leasee, there was the understanding that he was going to do the testing and any kind of remediation of the property and possible future purchase.
Mhm.
There's been some kind of back and forth on different groups that have been doing the testing and the information and getting the information from the leasee. So we're working on trying to get another report submitted to DEP that's due. So right now we're in the middle of trying to get that submitted. That will add to more of the information on where we can see where everything's going and what's happening there. So that's kind of where we're at now. So the town's kind of working on the lease agreement and other ways that we can possibly monitor the conditions at the site, because it is still under our jurisdiction. So we're going to be looking at some things like that. So I can explain a little more of that. And then they can kind of explain on what the neighborhood groups kind of looking at doing and everything with that. So I think that's all I had. The only other thing I had is July 4th. We have an event at the fairgrounds on Friday. There will be fireworks. I will be meeting with some concerned homeowners from the area about fireworks. I think it's next week or the week after. Just to get
Noise or?
concerns about the environmental effects of fireworks, kind of the ash smell, things landing in their yards, so I'm willing to meet with them and just discuss what their feelings are. So I'm gonna meet with them, and certainly at the next meeting, I can kind of bring back any concerns that they shared with me and any future things that they might want to address the board or talk about that.
In thoughts about, I brought this up last time. Yeah. Brought this up last time about trying to think about regulations for prepared like foods. That have cannabis.
All prepared, yep. So I also,
Like, want to make sure that,
yeah, so I have a meeting scheduled, hopefully FERCog scheduling something.
so that,
I think it was,
so the deal is that right now, any food that contains cannabis, like you can prepare it and it doesn't, there's no oversight on the preparation. So like all these, like at Green River Fest, all the normal food vendors, you have to have a license. If it has cannabis in it, you don't have to have a license. So it's exempt and it's only through the Cannabis Control Board. So we were thinking about putting in some regulations that when you're here, if you have unwrapped food that needs heating preparation, so we want to have some licensing for that.
yeah, I'm meeting with, at some point, there's going to be a meeting with the Cannabis Control Commission about social consumption too, which hopefully will have some of that more information in it. So I'll definitely look into trying to get some of that information as well. And then, because yeah, with the social consumption, it's going to be kind of like that too. They're going to have to look at the whole places selling it too, in food at a place where you can sit down and eat. So hopefully they'll have some information on that, so I can bring that back to us too as well. We can discuss more on that. I think that's all I had. I'm not sure what Megan was going to cover in nursing activities. But we can bring that up at the next meeting. Yeah,
All right.
that's fine.
So,
I have a moment of time.
well, we actually had the
Public comment.
6:31, we've already started. If you don't want my public comment, I will hold it until the next meeting. I testified at the State House today. It's good with this place. It's up to you.
Sure, it's fine, sure.
That's fine. Good. Sorry you missed the beginning one.
And then you have to hold for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. We do this all the time. Yeah.
You're a pro.
So my name is Pamela Goodwin. I live at 54 High Street. And I belong to Health Rights Massachusetts. And today, the State House was listening to a number of public health issues today. So I testified remotely. And in 2024, Governor Healy and the State House put in something called SAPHE. And this group that I testified with and other people are supporting an amendment to that. So originally I had Clerk Scott do a FOIA for me because I'm not familiar with it. And I was told there wasn't any kind of municipal agreement that this Board of Health has with some grants that are coming in or have come in. Julie Boras, who runs this group, read to me in one of our Zoom meetings that she said, oh, I think they do have such and such an agreement. So I haven't done another FOIA to look for it, but the gist of it is that big government is using funding for boards of health across the state, and it's tied to the rights of a person's ability to make their own personal choice about either their health issue or their children's health issue. For example, some of the grants are enabling clinics to go into school systems. And of course, that looks like it's really very helpful to have a clinic in the school. And then if you don't read the fine print, the parents are not aware that they're giving up their rights for their own children there. So That's why we're doing an amendment about it. We're asking for certain things to be looked at more closely because it really is tying. For one thing, the safe thing was H5100. It was kind of hidden in a big economic development package. And it's kind of slid in there, these various, whether you have bodily autonomy rights as a person, or if you have the right as a parent to be able to decide whether your child wants either to have an exam or get a shot or, like any kind of a health issue. You're sort of signing over without actually looking at the strings that are attached for the funding. So if this passes, this will be an amendment, and it's called an act ensuring municipal control in public health systems. It's sponsored by Senator Peter Durant, and it's also sponsored by Representative Ken Sweezy. And we would like to think that the Board of Health in Greenfield, for example, would have the control rather than having the state say this is how it's going to work. So if this amendment comes through to attach to this SAPH thing, that's what we're fighting for. Because we don't like the fact that somebody up there in Boston in public health is making decisions without local people having the say and the control. And we also feel that anything like this needs to belong in a public hearing setting, just the way you guys do. You do a hearing, people come up, they show up, they say what they think so that you get input from people. So I'm not aware that there's any kind of hearing that's been going on. I don't know if, Michael, you've heard of this SAPAG thing.
I've not, no, not
Do you
yet.
know what a municipal agreement is?
Yes, I
Do
do
you
know.
now have one?
I don't believe we have one on that, no, not with any kind of company that would come in and do that.
No, it's not a company,
Or
it's
just-
just in a grant, it's a funding that comes in. So if you have one, I was supposed to try to get my hands on it. They're usually 2 or 3 pages.
I mean, as a grant, just as a grant, so it's a grant.
Right, but it's an agreement between the city of Greenfield agreeing to do something. Because
Yeah, no,
you're
we-
getting funding, right?
Yeah, we only have 2 grants that we deal with right now, and that wouldn't be one of them.
Yeah, and in terms of the schools, I can attest because I'm one of the school nurses in Greenfield.
Okay,
We don't do anything like that in terms of giving shots to kids in school. We have set up clinics that parents can bring their kids to and consent to them, but those aren't run during school hours.
so that's a separate thing. That,
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
right.
I,
What I'm
I,
talking
I
about
find it
is
hard to
the
envision
parents-
like there would be any situation though where, an exam or some other invasive procedure would be done to a child without a parent's consent.
Right.
I mean, we don't have.
Happening in the eastern part of the state in some of the big cities. It's not like
Okay.
something on.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have one now, but I mean, certainly, yeah, if someone approaches us about that, we would have an open discussion about it.
Right,
I wouldn't just be accepting grants on the basis of
Right.
that alone.
yeah. Apparently, this is something that several people and then Governor Healy in 2024 rushed it on through. So thank you for your time.
No problem.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll keep an eye for it, yeah. Go ahead.
Any more? Yeah, so move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, vote. Okay. Any adjourn?